Welcome friends, this is Archangel. I have previously in another video broached the final make or break issues for a male trying to go their own way and reclaim their empowerment, the absconding of sexual appetite. But there really is a deeper dynamic at work here. It is not simply males desiring sex. It is males' deep-seated longing for romantic affection, of which sex is a small part. Giving up the idea of romantic association based upon selfless affection with a female, that has been the hardest red pill for me personally to swallow. Realizing that females cannot and will not love me or males in general the way we love them, the way we pretend they love us in fairy tales, to grasp the reality that female behavior is based upon survival, not love. This has been the saddest part of my journey because it was the death of my dreams. Essentially, it was the death of the fairy tales that I had placed stock in. After being inundated from birth with lies, I thus built my dreams and desires upon faulty premises, carefully constructed to brainwash me by a society that needs my servitude to females and thrives on my disposability. I cannot be held to blame for believing these fairy tales, nor can any male. We are simply the latest batch of casualties that our gynocentric world has produced. We are indoctrinated with cruel falsehoods of romance and female love, and extracting males from this brainwashing is a difficult task. To some, it is an impossible task. How do you liberate yourself? Well, eschew sex, reproduction, and female companionship, and you will be liberated. Oh, I know. That's not so pleasant, huh? And when I say you must relinquish your desire for sex, I am, in the larger picture, admonishing you relinquish your desire for romantic affection and aspirations of salvation through female touch. Romantic love is a fairy tale, and it is a fairy tale that I bought hook, line, and sinker. I mean, even while I observed male devaluation and railed against it in my writing, I still nevertheless held out hope deep down for the one, that one who was different, that one who would make me the center of her universe, who would breathe only for me. I still held out hope, a glimmer of hope, that the fairy tale romance would find me. I still sought counsel from inspiring law of attraction videos on YouTube. What I realize now is that I was trying to be in two worlds at the same time, trying to fight misandry and male disposability in this realm while keeping a finger or two anchored in the matrix, because I still define my worth and laid my happiness at the feet of females, and female approval manifest as affection or physical touch. I was still allowing females to define my existence, and my misery came because I had no female absolution, just wretched self-loathing as I went from female to female seeking eternity. I was miserable and unhappy with my life based solely upon a lie. The lie all males are told. The fallacy that I only had worth because a female bestowed it upon me, or because I served feminine divinity. Moreover, the biggest falsehood was that I needed females at all. I see so many males still in the web of deceit who are miserable because they cannot attract a female, because they cannot find the affection that they crave from females. I understand their torment and I want to help them, yet until they put their hand in the fire and realize it burns, they really won't listen to my advice. Perhaps males in general are being lazy, trying to avoid responsibility for their own happiness, choosing instead to wait for a female to make it all better, to bestow her glorious approval upon them, waiting for a female to heal the wounds that were caused by females in the first place. On the other hand, overcoming deep indoctrination is a very tedious process. Years, decades, even lifetimes can be consumed. Males are programmed to seek out females by nature and nurture. We get hit with representations of males needing females everywhere we turn in Western culture. It's overwhelming and never-ending the way society is engineered for male-female relations. Family, friends, community, civilizations, all are geared toward romance and marriage. You're not whole, you're not complete, and you cannot be happy without another, a second half, a spouse, a companion, and on and on and on, and good Lord, blah blah freaking blah on. We are bombarded with instructions and teachings that we cannot and never will be happy or whole by ourselves. We need another to make life special and give us meaning. So we have a bunch of little half people wandering around desperately seeking their missing complementary half, who will put them out of their miserable solo existence. We are geared towards unhappiness in the wake of such defective philosophies. Yes, on the one hand, nature compels us into each other's arms for procreation and cooperative, albeit antagonistic, survival. On the other hand, our environment, nurture, nails shut the coffin by teaching us that our happiness, even our very salvation, rests with us finding another. This is an overwhelming societal meme aimed at males, since biology compels females to take from males, to use them as utilities for protection and provision. There is no room for female to male love or caring. It is not in their best interests, or the interest of the species, to care about male welfare or feelings. So males are alone in this hell of seeking love. They freely give, but they do not receive true love from females. This vicious programming compels males to seek and center their lives, their dreams, on female acceptance and approval, to the extent that most males cannot overcome their need for female validation and so live entire lives of misery and sadness. This is why many males will agree with male issues. They see the inequities going on, yet they draw the line at going their own way. And these same males will bitterly defend their need for females and mock or shame other males into doing the same. Males that shame MGTOWs are envious on some level of the courage, the strength these males muster in order to rebuke female affections or enticement. Why would they shame such trailblazing titans that reject gynocentrism? Because deep down, they are slaves who could never summon such power. Much like the guy who quits heroin gets mocked by those who are still dope fiends stuck in the game. MGTOWs aren't bothered by the mockery of the enslaved masses who insult them because they see reality and know that these enslaved males are amazingly unhappy and will one day hit the wall and realize, you know what? Those crazy, pathetic dudes who said giving up sex or romantic affection was reclamation of male power? Gosh, maybe they were right. Sex is temporary. Self-worth, inner beauty, and empowerment is lasting. When you're 70 and sex is gone or you no longer engage in it, yet you still serve females out of habit or obligation, then what? What good has sex done for you other than training you into female servitude, a shovel for the vaginisty? Yeah, mock me all you want, but this is where the rubber meets the road. You want better treatment? You want liberation? You want your worth and power as a male and a human being? Then transcendence of sexual and romantic ideologies are the final hurdle. Think about your objection and denial of that previous statement. We are so brainwashed into believing that we, and males as a whole, have no purpose, no meaning without a female somewhere in the picture, that a male's utility to females is their only justification for taking up space in this world. We are so brainwashed from birth that if a male is not serving females, he is simply dead weight, litter lining the road that someone else will have to clean up. Males are directed to seek out and enrich females in some shape or fashion in order to earn the air that he breathes. The romance we wrap male servitude in is sold everywhere from literature to pop culture, and this lie is a beautiful, seductive drug, but it is just that, a drug, not reality, especially for males who seek this from a sex who simply uses them for their utility, not because they love them or even see males as human beings. Hey, fantasy is enjoyable. It's a vacation from suffering and monotony of life. Movies, video games, stories, they're all a good time. However, basing your hopes and dreams, your value and happiness on the fulfillment of fantastic fiction is the error which causes so much unhappiness. Attaching your identity or happiness to anything, real or fake, you set yourself up for unhappiness when you fall short of that ideal. This is one tenet of many philosophies, that attachment to anything causes suffering. Thus, practicing non-attachment is the key to liberation from suffering. Under this paradigm, males are completely attached to females being the authors of compassion, benevolence, and love. Moreover, that females are the bearers of male salvation, and much pain is caused when males find out that females do not feel the same about males. Longing for genuine selfless caring and affection, for Romeo and Juliet epic affection reciprocated between the sexes, Yeah. It's a nice tale to get lost in a daydream over, but pretending such fondnesses actually exist in today's world? Let me know how that works out for you. I would be the first to applaud any evidence that true fairy tale love of unceasing devotion and molten affections existed in this time and place. More to the point, I would give a standing ovation to any definitive evidence that females truly loved males in kind to the romantic love males lavish upon them. From all observable data of myself and others, from the observations of billions of people throughout human history, relationships are simply long, in-depth lessons about manipulation, not romance. You can believe in Puff the Magic Dragon all you want, but hanging your hopes, dreams, and ambitions on moving in with Puff and living out a charmed existence of fairy tale caliber, you simply set the trap that will ensnare you in unhappiness. Romance is Puff the Magic Dragon, because it doesn't exist. It is a clever tale with exciting novelty, but it has no purchase in reality. I love Santa Claus and all the holiday merriment surrounding Santa and Frosty and Rudolph. Yet, if I was to reduce my enjoyment of Christmas based upon whether these three actually materialized and came to see me personally on Christmas Eve, well, let's say I'd have a lot of sucky, disappointing Christmases. Fellas, if you hang your enjoyment of life based upon companionship from a female, well, you're gonna have a sucky, disappointing life. Yet, want of sex, which deep down is the longing for affection from females, this ambition dies hard in the hearts and minds and souls of males all over the world who, despite everything, continue to hold out hope that they are the exception, that the Titanic would not have sunk with them aboard. They would have made the difference, been the exception. From these male longings that refuse to die, we get such phrases as finding the right one. Not all women are like that. We continue to feed males false hope with cheeseball phrases meant to deflect all the contrary evidence. Like telling the fly entangled amongst apathetic web, you just haven't met the right spider yet. Yeah, you bet. There are selfless, altruistic, loyal, low-maintenance supermodels out there. You just haven't met the right one. Exceptions? Sure. The possibility exists for there to be exceptions to everything. However, our misandristic culture of male disposability simply does not leave much room for such exceptions to become the rule. Because if exceptions were widespread and females actually loved males and reciprocated this love in kind, our species, our civilization, our way of life would grind to a halt, since females would be risking life and limb and species continuation to service, coddle, and love males, as males currently coddle, pamper, and die for females. So the fact that society is the way it is results from there being negligible female exceptions. So, exceptions are legends. Gynocentrism and male disposability is the rule. That is how society exists right now, because male devaluation is the rule. Okay, but still, why couldn't romance exist? Why such dour attitudes about relations between the sexes? Well, it simply boils down to survival, obtaining what you need in the most efficacious way available. When you are groomed by a culture and pushed by nature to survive and thrive, all other considerations become pale in comparison. Survival compels people to see others as tools for their usage to provide them with what they need. And when you see others as tools for your usage, selfless benevolence cannot occupy the same space. This is why romance does not exist. Why the fabled Nawalt or right one, the unicorn, they do not exist, because lizard brain survival considerations trump frontal lobe constructs of love and romance and compassion. Life is hard, and more often than not, life sucks. This stress accurately predicts that survival tactics will drive human interpersonal behaviors and relations. I know how negative and pessimistic this sounds, but what is more detrimental, naivete of reality or preparedness for it? Is it sour grapes when a water buffalo steers clear of the crocodile? Or should Joe the water buffalo hold on to fairy tales and cliche sayings while lighting candles and hoping to meet the right crocodile? Now, this brings us to a divergence in theory. Are males and females simply animals adhering to instinctual behaviors of self-preservation, or are we capable of higher purpose, higher spiritual meaning, able to enact selfless compassion and love despite adversity to our own personal survival? Well, I do have deeper thoughts on life and the grand picture, though no evidence of it. So I say that yes, we are capable of higher purpose and selfless action towards all genders and creeds. In fact, males have proven themselves above reptilian brain urges by dying for females and thus effectively transcending their basal instincts of self-preservation. Furthermore, you see higher functioning when someone sacrifices their life for a loved one. But usually this is a platonic love, for a friend or a family member. When you introduce sexual affections between the sexes, as in romantic relations, the tendency towards manipulation and usury is irresistible in today's world. You take platonic love, then you introduce sex, and effectively you have put an expiration date on that association. Sex taints love, and it is the cage which imprisons males. Since there is such antagonism and animosity between the sexes already, human conscience, a singular species phenomena on planet Earth, is easily bypassed while you justify usage of others as utilities to fuel the ongoing survival ordered by your lizard brain. Misandry has a direct role in this. When you can reduce males to disposable tools, when you can bypass their worth and value as human beings, then you can justify their servitude. That's why farmers do not want their kids to name or become fond of cows or pigs, because they are simply being fattened up for slaughter. They are tools for the farmer's usage and livelihood. Again, it boils down to survival. And if you get to know these animals as creatures with personalities and maybe feelings and even souls, then your conscience becomes a pesky annoyance reminding you that they are not commodities but rather living beings, and it becomes harder to stomach their mistreatment. This is why Farmer Joe doesn't want little Joey to name Gertrude's new calf, because it will cause him all kinds of annoyance when, down the road, he has to haul Joey's pet off to slaughter in order that people will have what they need to make their hamburger helper with. That's why devaluing, slandering, defaming, mocking, and besmirching males is integral to their disposability. We need to devalue males to make them seem less valuable, which bypasses our pesky consciences in order that we continue to use them for labor and then discard them when they fail to produce benefit. As such, this awakening to reality was a cruel jump from the sauna into the cold snowbank, uprooting my desire for fairy tale romance, giving funeral to the hopes and dreams and happinesses I had placed upon romance. This has been the hardest part of awakening from the brainwashing to face a man-hating culture. Yet I have finally taken responsibility for my daydreams and finally acknowledged the self-induced torment I caused by defining my value and happiness based upon falsehoods and fairy tales. Romance and physical affection is indeed a potent, beautiful drug, and there is still part of me that will always remain a hopeless romantic. Who doesn't watch Titanic and get caught up in the love theme? I still feel the longings and tuggings upon my heartstrings with such representations, and maybe in another time, another place, another planet, this romance theme between opposing sexes of a reproductive species could actually come to fruition. Yet I cannot unswallow the red pill of this planet and this time and this place. I would not want to. So I leave these beautiful tales in the books or DVD from whence they came. Okay, so do you have to give up female relations for the rest of your life? Perhaps not, but I feel that males need an extended break from all female enticements while they debrief and slowly awaken from the haze of male devaluation they have been systemically brainwashed with. Males need time to truly digest the most unpleasant of red pills, not simply a couple weeks or a few months. After that, if you choose to go back and try including females into your life adventure, you won't be a doormat anymore because you will easily see all the shallow BS and selfish manipulation that all other males are blinded to. Moreover, once you acclimate to the reality of male-female relations as they always have been, which is premeditated usury, not twinkling stars romance, then you will become increasingly bored, disinterested in relations, if you do attempt to dabble once in a while at all. Why? Because you have evolved. It would be like an adult going on an Easter egg hunt with kindergartners and trying to pretend the Easter Bunny actually hid all these eggs and nuggets of candy. You are more evolved now. You know too much and can see beyond simple fairy tale to reality. You are working your way towards PhD at the University of Liberation Y. You're beyond fables and Zeus throwing lightning bolts to explain lightning. You are now beyond the simple, little fantastic fairy tales of true love and soulmates and star-crossed lovers that the rest of humanity is trying to hunt down on the playground with their Easter baskets in hand, competing with all the other naive little kids to get the most eggs. My heart breaks when I see so many young males who hate themselves and dismiss their worth simply because they have not found a female to hold them at night and tell them that they are important, that they actually matter. I have talked to male after male after male that tell the same sad story. Once upon a time, they had a dream, ambitions to be athletes, models, astronauts, scientists, earth movers, and universe shakers who would create such wonders that would change the entirety of existence. But naively, they chased females and sex, and in every case, their dreams have been replaced by degrading, monotonous 9-to-5s in order to support kids, a female, and the misandristic system they live within. Those lucky enough to have avoided the stork, thus far, still have their enthusiasm and wonder trampled on by one vitality-draining relationship after another. Or if, like me, you are fortunate enough to avoid the sexual manipulation of females, you still have your exuberance for life sucked from you because you feel like you're nothing without a female in your life. So you live a gray world pining away for females to kiss you back into existence. I have talked to males with such palpable sorrow and regret in their eyes when they tell me about the murder of their spirit and dreams. And then I try to counsel young men exiting high school the truths of life, love, and romance with the hopes that one, maybe two, will actually listen to my counsel. But then again, when I was fresh out of high school and knew everything, would I have listened to this wisdom from males wiser than myself? Yeah. Probably not. I would have dismissed these guys as bitter morons who probably had ED. And the males that do avoid female enticements, it is usually imposed on them, not by choice. They are awkward or shy or geeky, and chicks just do not notice them or reject them. But they would be playing with the girlies if life didn't impose such periods of abstinence upon them. I understand all these things, and ultimately this abstinence that life imposed upon me was essentially my true awakening to reality and misandry, male devaluation, and the true state of affairs between sexes. Being the ugly loser in high school who could not get dates was essentially salvation because it forced red pills upon my subconscious, which I tried to spit back out for years. In the end, it was a lifeline back to empowerment, and it kindled within me my passion and purpose in life, which is to elucidate male devaluation to the world. As for the brainwashed males, I guess the most I can do is wait until they have awakened and support them when they do. So here are a few things you come to realize in time. Gravity is indiscriminate. Fire is rather warm. Rudolph has a brighter nose than the other reindeer, and sexual desire is the slave master of male souls and the assassin of their dreams. Think about that. When you have finally hit the wall, that statement will set off light bulbs in your head and you will get it. Most, however, will never concede to this, and you will observe males still ensconced in the matrix who will bitterly defend against this, because they still find their worth through females and physical intimacy. You know these males because they will attack with hostility MGTOWs who dispense such truths. Just scroll the comments, you'll find them. They will justify their own needs and behaviors for female approval, or they will try and shame you. You're ugly, you're bitter, you're a loser, you need a woman, blah blah freaking blah. But you know what? I feel a sad pity for these males, these brothers, who still have on pastel rabbit ears and are running around the monkey bars looking for Easter eggs. I feel empathy for all these males, all these white knights and manginas who still think that females are their saving grace and that salvation lies only through females. And every time someone attempts to shame me, it has the opposite effect. I become more emboldened to spread the red pills and help another brother escape from the emotional Stockholm syndrome they are enacting. Another wisdom you will come to know is that survival belies all. The reason MGTOWs can make such broad, sweeping statements about male-female relations is because we observe nature and understand a couple basal precepts, and survival of the individual is paramount, trumped only by the gynocentric imperative of our species, which is continuation, gene replication through carbon-based vehicle. Animals have developed symbiotic relationships for the ensured survival of both parties. It's mingling for the sake of survival. You need bacteria, and bacteria need you. It's simple survival. It's not written in the stars true love. It's barter, theoretically ensuring increased odds at survival over solitary creatures. Humans are not that far removed. When the well-being, self-worth, or survival of one depends on the actions of another, then all the romantic words and cutesy little gestures are survival and manipulation, not throw myself on my sword, selfless true love, or romance. And since stress invokes lizard brain motivations by default with predictable automaticity, and since we as humans are far more stressed today than ever before and life is growing ever more complicated, this keeps all 7 billion of us in a constant state of survival, meaning we are motivated by survival instincts, not Little Mermaid romance. That is how the enlightened and awakened can proclaim that the Nawalt is a fantastic legend, a yarn to daydream about, but it is nevertheless a unicorn. You can observe a planet of people fighting for their existence, some even daring to fight for a slice of the pie. We are motivated by survival instincts and realize that love as it truly exists is simply a drug high of lust and infatuation. It's a chemical high from the dope dealer in your head. So attack me all you want. Call MGTOW all the names you can. Throw all the shaming and belittling tactics you can at us. We will be the ones to hold your hand when you finally take the red pills and need a shoulder while you are detoxing from the brainwashing of the vaginisty. That is my purpose, to hasten the awakening of society to epidemic male devaluation. Yes, I am a red pill pusher, but unlike Vicodin or Oxycontin, these pills will not make you feel good. They will hurt and they will cause rage. But in the end, they will produce a strength and value that you have never known. Let me repeat, sexual desire is the slave master of male souls and the assassin of their dreams. Chasing sex and the females that peddle it turns males into doormats. It's really quite pathetic, and once you awaken, you will see what is really going on. Simpering males with their pants around their ankles, waddling after females. Baby, come back. I'll dress how you want. I'll get a better paying job. I'll buy you any house you want. I'll even be nice to your mother. Please. Yeah. My friends, stand with me. Live free.